So, what if I told you that in a quick 5-minute conversation, there's just one single nonverbal cue that can predict whether you're going to get a second date with nearly 100% accuracy? Wild, right? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're breaking down the fascinating mechanics of human attraction, and we're zeroing right in on the duality of eye contact, the gaze of attraction.
Now, you might be sitting there mentally reviewing your wardrobe, or maybe agonizing over your height. But I promise you, it's absolutely not your outfit, and it's definitely not your physical stature. The secret to that almost perfect prediction rate is actually hidden entirely in how you use your eyes. It's this incredibly specific, measurable behavior that happens literally in the blink of an eye, yet it completely dictates our romantic and social success.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the eye tracking experiment, a speed dating study.
To truly wrap our heads around how this works, we really need to look at this groundbreaking study that focused entirely on the high-stakes, pressure cooker environment of speed dating. And what makes this study so incredible is the methodology. You see, instead of relying on people filling out subjective, kind of flawed surveys after the fact, researchers used dual mobile eye tracking technology. They monitored these couples in real time. They tracked exactly where each person was looking, millisecond by millisecond, while they were chatting. So we're really grounding our entire explainer today in hard, measurable science. No guesswork here.
Section 2, giving versus receiving, sharing eye contact.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that through all this eye tracking data, the researchers pinpointed this really surprising duality. Look, giving eye contact to show your own interest? Fantastic. But receiving eye contact, that is the true psychological trigger. Receiving that gaze is what actually influences the final decision on whether someone wants to see you again. So it's not actually about how intensely you stare at them. It's entirely about the effect their gaze has on your brain.
So, why is receiving that gaze so incredibly powerful? Well, as we can see here, being looked at personally triggers positive arousal in the body. It literally makes us feel, well, touched or personally chosen by the other person without them ever laying a finger on us. And you know, in the incredibly vulnerable, high-stakes arena of dating, catching someone looking at you actively reduces your social uncertainty. It creates this immediate, visceral sense of social control and intimacy that words alone simply cannot pull off.
I want to slow down for just a second here to really emphasize this quote straight from the research. The gaze acts like a pointer, as powerful as them calling your name. Just think about that deep psychological feeling for a second. When someone locks eyes with you, it immediately singles you out from the rest of the room. It demands your attention, creating this invisible magnetic thread between the two of you that's honestly as undeniable as hearing your own name spoken out loud.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 3, the perception gap, judging body language.
As beautiful as this invisible thread of eye contact is, there is a pretty shocking reality we need to confront. We humans are absolutely terrible at judging our own body language. When the researchers asked the people in the study how they felt they did, the participants genuinely believed they were crushing it. On average, they felt like they were making eye contact about 60% of the time during their dates. They walked away feeling super confident that they were building all this deep intimacy.
But then, the researchers actually checked the hard data from the eye trackers. And get this, the technology recorded people making actual mutual eye contact only about 8% of the time. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. They thought they were connecting 60% of the time, but in reality, it was a mere 8%.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive gap in our self-awareness. It's kind of funny, really, seeing our collective dating delusions exposed like this. We walk around thinking we're these incredibly smooth, deeply connected communicators, just gazing into each other's souls. Meanwhile, the eye trackers show we are mostly just staring at the table, the wall, literally anywhere else but each other's eyes.
Which brings us to Section 4, mastering the gaze, an actionable solution.
So, the crucial point is, we know receiving eye contact triggers attraction, and we know we totally fail to make it happen naturally. So how do we fix this? The answer is understanding exactly what to do consciously. You need to aim for what the study calls the gaze. This is defined as holding contact for 2 to 3 seconds. It's long enough to signal real, sincere interest, but short enough to avoid, turning into an uncomfortable stare. You have to overcome that 8% reality by deliberately making the choice to hold their eyes. So here is your actual call to action based on all this science. Step 1, make intentional eye contact. Don't leave it to chance or your very flawed natural perception. Step 2, hold it for that crucial 2 to 3 seconds. Be the one who gives them that amazing feeling of being chosen. And step 3, observe their reaction.
Watch as that positive arousal kicks in and that uncertainty melts away. I highly encourage you to practice the gaze this week and just see how people react. I promise you, it is an absolute game changer.
Which leaves us with this final, kind of wild thought. If a mere 2 to 3 seconds of conscious eye contact can predict a second date with almost perfect accuracy, how much control do you actually have over your social destiny? The tools for genuine connection, they aren't mysterious. They're totally measurable, and they're sitting right there in front of you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you want more deep dives into the fascinating science of body language, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next one. See you then.